Chapter 15 Catch Up. Hello and welcome to it's not just one week's adventure in this story, it is more. The reason for that is that I was sick and first didn't have the energy to write down my adventures. Then when I felt better, I had a really sore throat for another week without the ability to talk. But that's behind us. Now, let's look forward to a more grand adventure that we can have in the future. So, hello and welcome to this week's adventures. The plan for the first week was to do a ton of work around the village and build an Enderman Farm. While I did that work, I was going to tell a story from another life. Since I'm putting more weeks into this chapter, the story can wait. Instead, I will brush through what I did and get to the more exciting bits of the last weeks. First thing I wanted to do was make the creeper farm more efficient and get more resources. To the mines I went and lit up the caves collecting materials that I needed along the way. I did come back with a good haul. After that, I needed to repair my tools, so I went about doing what I normally do, chopping trees down and trading for emeralds, getting experience in the meantime. Here is when I decided that it was time to make something better. Time to make an Enderman farm. These farms are well known, and mine is nothing special except maybe the shape. Here it is finished. See? To start with, nothing special. A drop to the bottom and a long bridge out to a killing chamber with an enchanting setup. Pretty standard, right? The only thing that is special is my touch on the shape of the farm. I made it into a signature of myself. I don't have a coat of arms yet, but a leaf with gold and silver embossing is my standard. Now, this is when I started to feel sick without any energy, so I took it easy and started to make a ton of tools, also heal up the tools that are dangerously low. Once that was sorted, I went out end city raiding, mainly for shulkers. Took my bow and slowly worked my way through a few end cities. I managed to get almost a stack of shulker shells. The other loot was nice as well, although I only took the really good stuff and all the ender chests. The other bonus was 3 more sets of wings. After returning, I did some cleanup of my chests. Some of my chests had a ton of junk left in them from when I was still tiny, and I kept junk in case it was valuable. The sickness continued, and I continued to rest more, with occasional fits of restlessness. When those fits came upon me, I worked on my storage system. Some might say, Leaf, you have no storage system. Those people would be correct. It was time to actually make a proper storage system. The system that I'm going with is each theme of item will have its own shop in the wider city that will slowly pop up around us. The way I'm going to decide which item is most important to sort will be based on which chest in my storage basement is overflowing the most. The chest that is most overflowing is my other dimensional chest. That would be the chest with the nether and end stuff in it. That chest has 2 themes inside of it. One is nether and the other is end. I have more nether related stuff than end, so the first shop that I'm going to make is going to be made into the Nether Shop. I chose this area for the shop to sit and even started out a rough layout for the shop. The look I'm going with is an older cafe that has had some hard times, and instead of getting it destroyed and rebuilt, the owner took time to carefully repair the building. That is why the bottom is more crumbled than the top. Once the building was built, the owner took the resources that he had at hand and filled in the last part. That is why we have nether wood roof. For the front covering, The owner would have liked to use netherwood, but both types of wood trapdoors have holes in them. So with a simple trade, he got some dark oak trapdoors. Since this is not a cafe, the owner decided to decorate the outside of the cafe with nether related stuff that is stored inside of his shop. Also, he decided to use the veranda in the front for storage. Then the inside starts to take shape. Using the materials at hand, a floor is put in, and then a front desk where more can be seen. The need for a ceiling and lights come, so those are promptly put into place. As I said, I was sick, and my scattered brain took me on a weird tangent for some reason. I then started to work on the outside of the shop, making the back courtyard. Since this shop is also a residence for those who work here, a large courtyard is what is needed for the freedom to walk around at home behind closed doors. After that, the shop started to show what was for sale, and the owners put everything behind the desk on display. I then stumbled into a vine and noticed that the vines were growing. This was not right, so I looked around at all the vines and realized that they were all growing. So I went and got shears and trimmed all the vines down, then clipped them so that they would not grow anymore. Back now to the interior decorating. Some products here and some there. Items that you can trade for other items. Decorative chains, etc. The upstairs and living quarters. Floor to start with, and windows next. Now to make the area that makes this shop purposeful to me. The storage system. I will get some chests and then water will flow over top of hoppers, slowly filling the chests. I'm not going to organize each item. I will just let all mass store into the chest. After making a tunnel and placing water in it with a water column, I did another tangent of building and decorating. This was more of my scattered brain doing work. I started in the upper room and made a balcony. Then I connected the water column to the chests, jumped to the exterior of the upper section. I felt it was a bit plain, so I added some nether growth up the sides of the building, each side its own color. To complete the shop, it needed a signature sign, so a simple sign with the letter N on it should do. After all, this is the Nether Shop. I genuinely think that the shop is complete, and we can start getting some employees here to run and the owner of the place. The first citizen I knew that he wanted to come because he was the one that instructed me about the building and what he wanted. He is going to be the owner. As the owner, he wants to run the shop. And as a hobby, be a mason, selling mason related items on the side. The other employee, I was free to pick who I wanted. So the first citizen of Echo that I saw, I asked if she wanted to join in. She was at first reluctant to join, but after some coaxing, she finally decided to join in, under the conditions that she was free to work the hours she wanted to and that she does not need to leave home if she does not want to. That was fine with me because I told her that the shop also had a bed if she wanted it, and she was happy to stay. That way she could always be free except the odd time that she might need to serve someone. She also decided to take up a hobby of her own, and that was being a cleric. It may have been because it was another shop, or it was a genuine interest for her. I don't know and didn't pressure. Quickly after moving in, the backyard started to fill up with different aspects of their professions. Also, some extra material that they might sell on the side, they started to store in the backyard. I didn't mind. It looks lived in and it's the backyard, so no one should be able to see it unless there's a nosy neighbor. Or there are others like myself that can fly. Since they moved in, it was time for their bedroom to be made in the upstairs, After figuring out what they wanted, the walls were put up and the ceiling was put in place. Also, some bits of decoration that they wanted to add to their home. And while I did all the work, they had some ideas of what they wanted to do. So I did exactly what I needed to do. They kept close to the theme of the Nether, so it was easy to put it together. Once that was done, it was time to finish off what I needed this building for, and that was the storage system I was making here. The bit that I needed to finish is not in this room, but in my main house. I want the delivery system to go from my basement to the Nether Shop. That required me to make an auto dispensing machine of all the items that I am storing in the Nether Shop. As you saw, I did a bunch of testing, but in the end, I just installed the unit because this was my first unit, and I'm not sure if this is going to be the design that I'm going with for the whole storage system. The next shop or building that I'm going to make for storage, I'm going to try a rail system and see if that works better. It is done. Now we can start to empty my chest of nether stuff and deposit into this chest. And then we can see all the items dispensing into the water stream, which will go into the storage. Hopefully now I won't waste as many nether related blocks. Yeah, if those blocks are in my inventory, I tend to throw them out first. But that is only when I need more storage room in my inventory. This is where I will leave it. For your information, this is when I started to feel a bit better, except my throat was still sore. So I started a new project. But we will leave all of that for next week to explore, as the project is still not finished yet. As I start to dig out this area, we will take one more look at the Nether Shop, and I will say my farewells. Have a good one. See you next week. Sorry for the late story. Catch you later. Goodbye.